Almost 5 years to the day that Alec Murdaugh's wife Maggie and son Paul were murdered at the kennels outside their Colleton County home. Alec Murdaugh got the news today that the South Carolina Supreme Court has granted him a new trial.
That decision coming down this morning directly from Columbia.
Of a rogue clerk of court, and even if we accept the truncated version of what you characterize as innocuous statements, even you acknowledge it was improper.
Those were some of the statements back in February made about Colleton County Clerk of Court Becky Hill at the Supreme Court hearing. Today, the justice's opinion echoed those sentiments, saying in the 27-page document she egregiously attacked Murdaugh's credibility and his defense and placed her fingers on the scales of justice, denying his right to a fair trial by an impartial jury. Hill was writing a book about the high-profile case and is accused of trying to taint that jury with comments about the defense. Attorney General Alan Wilson just spoke a few moments ago, saying he's not done with this case. He wants a speedy trial and to get back in front of a jury again by the end of this year.
She explained she had a financial incentive for a guilty verdict. She also made comments to her like, don't be fooled by the evidence presented by Mr. Murdaugh's lawyer. Watch him closely. Just before he testifies, look at his actions, look at his movements.
Dick Harpootlian talking about exactly what Becky Hill said. Wilson said, though, he believes that while he respects the justice's opinion, he does not believe he was wrong with that prosecution and would like to continue doing it again. He said he can't ask the state Supreme Court or U.S. Supreme Court to look at the case on appeal, but hasn't decided if the route they're going to take. Joe McCullough is the attorney for two jurors who testified in the appeals hearing, who both said they were affected by Becky Hill's words. He says they are happy with justice has been done and that their voices were heard.
This opinion in granting him a new trial is not an exoneration. It's not an acquittal of Alec Murdaugh. It's not an opinion on his guilt or innocence. It is simply a recognition and a resounding statement that everyone who goes to trial in our courts charged with a criminal offense is entitled to a fair trial.
Alec Murdaugh's attorney said the Supreme Court proved the rule of law is strong in South Carolina, adding, quote, the court found that Becky Hill's conduct during the trial attacked Alec Murdaugh's credibility and his defense. The court rightly described her conduct as breathtaking, disgraceful, and unprecedented in South Carolina. They continued on to saying, we look forward to a new trial conducted consistent with the Constitution and the guidance this court has provided. Murdaugh is in jail in South Carolina right now for 27 years on financial crimes charges. He was also sentenced to 40 years in federal prison for the millions that he stole from his own clients. You can see our full coverage on this month-long process on our website, WSAV.com/Murdaugh Appeal.
WSAV is your local election headquarters. The redistricting battle happening nationwide reaches Georgia as Governor Brian Kemp calls for a special session to discuss changing the state's congressional maps. That special session will begin June 17th. The order comes in response to a recent ruling by the Supreme Court weakening the Voting Rights Act. In addition, the session will also have lawmakers work on changes to the state's electoral and ballot process in response to a 2024 law about paper ballots and QR codes. Governor Kemp has previously said that should the state change its maps, the new maps would not be used until the 2028 elections.
At the same time, South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster is going to reportedly call for a special session tomorrow so lawmakers there can redraw the state's congressional districts. The state Senate narrowly defeated an effort to launch a special session yesterday. Congresswoman Nancy Mace pointed out this morning that McMaster may have to call this special session because the state legislature hasn't passed a budget yet. Since then, she's been informed that McMaster will call for that special session at 5:01 p.m. tomorrow, right after the current session adjourns.
Now to a developing story out of Glenville. Residents there demanding resignations from 3 city council members and the mayor. This after they were caught on video making defamatory comments toward residents. Here's a look at the video of the conversation between Mayor Bernie Weaver, Tammy Waters, Mark Nobles, and Greg Yanachek following their April 28th special called council meeting. Camera did not shut off, and the meeting didn't end until after the public left the council chambers. a violation of the city's charter and Georgia law. The group discussed several city matters and made negative comments toward Councilwoman Cynthia Miller, who was not there, and other citizens, namely businessman Zubair Malik, appearing to discriminate against him for his non-Christian religious beliefs.
Do you think if we hit him with the holy water, he'd melt the water?
All I see is a pure hate and ignorance. It's just insulting people.
Council members and a mayor did not respond to WSAV's request for comment, but they did provide a lengthy statement in this week's edition of the Journal Sentinel. They wrote in part, "We apologize for or to anyone offended by the inappropriate and unprofessional comments that were made."
The future of Yamacraw Village was at the center of a heated meeting today in Savannah. Advocates for residents pushing for legally binding guarantees as the Housing Authority moves forward with redevelopment plans. WSAV's Nakaya Harris was there. She joins us now.
Now, Andrew, at the heart of today's meeting is a big question whether promises made to Yamacraw residents will actually be enforceable as redevelopment moves forward. Advocates for Yamacraw residents say their main concern is making sure people are protected as the community is rebuilt. They say they want a written, legally binding agreement, not just verbal promises guaranteeing a right to return and clear relocation support. Some also criticized the timing of the meeting, saying it was held during the workday, which made it hard for many residents to attend.
One of the last deeply affordable income-based communities here. The Housing Authority of Savannah continues to not agree to put their commitments into a legally binding agreement. Residents would have no legal recourse to make sure that the promises that they've been told actually come to fruition.
Now, in response, the Housing Authority of Savannah says it has already made formal commitments through HUD to preserve affordability and ensure eligible residents have a right to return. The agency says it remains committed to relocation support and ongoing community engagement throughout the redevelopment process. Nakaya Harris, WSAV News 3 on your side.
Nakaya, thank you. In the Lowcountry, a $134 million project held its grand opening today. It is expected to bring millions and create hundreds of jobs for the region. WSAV's Danielle Kopp-Logan has details now on the facility and what it means for the Lowcountry.
It's 300,000 square feet that will soon be occupied by hundreds of new employees and millions of dollars in revenue. But its contribution to the local area won't stop there.
Welcome to Hardeeville.
The cut of the ribbon officially begins operations for TS Conductor's $134 million investment in the city that sits in the fastest growing county in the nation. The first phase promises around 460 jobs, with more expansion planned for the future.
That is an economic boom.
You're looking at a situation where as many as 3,000 job opportunities could be coming from this investment.
The manufacturing company, which provides materials that help strengthen the power grid, is already eyeing another million-plus square foot facility.
That will allow us to get to a point where we can do 20 times the manufacturing capacity compared to our California operation. This is really the future of advanced conductor manufacturing in the US of A.
Hardeeville Mayor Harry Williams predicts over 10,000 new jobs in the region in the next 10 years. To match that growth, the mayor admits new housing and expanded infrastructure is needed.
The city of Hardeeville understands its responsibility. It understands the need that we have to work on the things that are necessary to support this growth, and that's what we're doing.
This facility will support the boom of AI and data centers. And despite recent pushback on data centers proposed for our surrounding areas, local leaders believe the facility is setting up success for the next generation. Danielle Kopp-Logan, WSAV News 3, on your side.
Now, Time Saver Traffic, sponsored by Arrowhead Clinic, the accident doctors, where it pays to get well.
Due to a crash at Interstate 16 westbound at I-95, still experiencing some delays back to the east with speeds down to around 20 miles per hour or less between Dean Forest Road and I-95. So definitely taking some extra time to head westbound out of the city right now. As far as our weather forecast, despite having some showers this afternoon and now into the evening hours, a mainly dry pattern will be setting up, and by the weekend, dry and hot conditions will be setting up. Well, the complete forecast in a few moments.